The enemy within.
If he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States, why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
it's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What
God,
is it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within.
These people should be put in jail the way they talk about our judges. Now, if you had one really violent day, one rough hour, and I mean real rough.
I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left.
And belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. No, but think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
Well, he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you,
that was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the President of the United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. And this is what is at stake, which is why you have someone like the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying what Mark Milley has said about Donald Trump being a threat to the United States of America.
The enemy within, a familiar concept to America, one that you should recognise because of the Red Scare and the McCarthy trials, but also something that's familiar to people like Adolf Hitler, who used the same tactics to talk about how Germany needed to clear out the enemy within. Hitler vowed to establish a strong government that would eradicate communism and socialism. He presented himself as the bulwark against chaos, vowing to bring stability by suppressing leftist movements, arresting their leaders, and outlawing anyone that got in his way, including journalists.
We must ruthlessly rid ourselves of anyone and everyone who tries to interfere with the task of saving Germany. Anyone who stands in the way of our objectives will be ruthlessly pushed aside.
Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor because I'm being indicted for you. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom.
Germany will either be a world power or there will be no Germany.
Yeah, I think you've set a new bar today for being contentious with the press corps, kind of calling us losers to our faces and all that.
No, not all of you, just many of you.
All right, fine. Enough of us. Is this what...
Not you, David.
Is this what it's going to be like covering you if you're president?
Yeah, it is.
What is in front of us are enemies that try to disfigure, to sully, and to destroy the image of our German people. And this enemy is not just the Jew, it is also the lying press.
Hitler framed these groups as responsible for Germany's decline, which is exactly what Donald Trump has been saying about the Democrats, the press, the socialists, the Marxists, and any other minority group that he doesn't like.
Those people are more dangerous, the enemy from within, than Russia and China. These people should be put in jail the way they talk about our judges and our justices. Now, if you had one really violent day, one rough hour, and I mean real rough.
I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
So you heard his words. You heard his words coming from him. He's talking about the enemy within Pennsylvania. He's talking about the enemy within our country, Pennsylvania. He's talking about that he considers anyone who doesn't support him or who will not bend to his will an enemy of our country. It's a serious issue. He is saying that he would use the military to go after them. Think about this. And we know who he would target. And we know who he would target because he has attacked them before. Journalists whose stories he doesn't like. Election officials who refuse to cheat by filling extra votes and finding extra votes for him. Judges who insist on following the law instead of bending to his will. This is among the reasons I believe so strongly that a second Trump term would be a huge risk for America and dangerous.
So when Fox News turns around and tries to claim that the rhetoric being used against Trump is exaggerating the problem, it makes you wonder what they're doing. Have they ever read a history book? Are they aware of World War II? Are they aware of the causes of the rise of Hitler and Mussolini and Franco? It begs all sorts of questions, but there's a further question to add. Have a listen to the rest of the clip that they edited out.
We are going to end all sanctuary cities immediately. We're going to end them. Because they're really...
Is that an executive order you do that with?
They're really... I can do it with an executive order. I'll have to do it with an executive order. You can do it with the Aliens of 1798. We can do things in terms of moving people out. We can move them out of the sanctuary cities.
What Donald Trump is citing there is a law so old it's almost the same age as the United States. And unfortunately, that law was used against the Japanese during World War II. And not just any Japanese Americans. Most of the people are going to be sent to an internment camp, concentration camp, and within that, 2/3 are going to have been born in the United States. The camps were spread across the United States, and the total figure was estimated at about 120,000 Japanese Americans. The Japanese volunteered in quite large numbers, but interestingly, the most decorated unit of World War II was the 442nd, made up entirely of Japanese American troops. Yet despite all of that effort in which to rekindle and regain honor, they were treated like shit. 35% of Americans did not support the return of Japanese Americans to American society. It wouldn't be till 1944 that they were allowed back in, but even more interesting, it's in 1988 under Ronald Reagan, whose banner was Make America Great Again, that apologies and compensation was given to Japanese Americans for those internment camps that Donald Trump so desperately wants to bring back.
No payment can make up for those lost years. So what is most important in this bill has less to do with property than with honor. For here we admit a wrong. Here we reaffirm our commitment as a nation to equal justice under the law.
Donald Trump has gone back to one of the darkest periods in US and European history to solve what he sees as a problem. But I also wanted to go back a little bit to what Fox had to say.
If he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States, why is that happening?
Bear in mind, Trump and Fox were spreading propaganda about a rigged election, and Fox, who was supporting this nonsense, just paid out $780 million to Dominion. And it gets better because Smartmatic have also settled, but we don't know what the figure is, but we do know that Smartmatic was trying to claim $2.7 billion. If Fox is so sure that the election was rigged, and so is Trump, where's the evidence that should have been presented in court, and for that amount of money, you would have thought Newsmax would have done everything to try and win that case. But of course, we don't want to do anything to suggest that Fox News is a propaganda tool or in any way evil.
Welcome to Fox News, your voice for evil.
And bear in mind, Hitler was gaining about 30% of the population behind him. Is the Fox News presenter suggesting they were stupid and that's why he got the vote? And Mussolini? Not far off as well, 30% was backing him. Is he suggesting that they were stupid? It's such a leading question. All that this has done is sow division, it's heightened distrust in institutions, it's fractured communities, it's fractured families, and it's eroded democratic values. And he's using techniques from the McCarthy trial and from Adolf Hitler. And that's why I made this video, to remind you to recognize these patterns, because it's essential to prevent history from repeating itself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you really liked this video, and I assume you did by getting to the end, hit that like and subscribe button. Once again, thank you to all of my supporters. You keep this channel going and growing. If you'd like to help out, there's a link in the description, or you can buy me a coffee. Once again, thanks for listening. Bye for now.